Ivor Brown, the doctor, would go out and nurse him back to health, and he would complain bitterly to Ivor, "You're not trying to save me, you're trying to save the songs," because he had tunes in his head that nobody else had. And there's a life-size statue of him in a small cottage that's now a place of music in the Knoll. And if you want to know if your children or your grandchildren have musical fingers, bring them there and compare the fingers, because his life-size, these extraordinarily long fingers that he actually had. And I imagined one night, at Christmas in the cottage bearing his name, a packed crowd sways as musicians play. The Knoll village is quiet, a sky bereft of stars breeds webs of frost on windscreens of cars. Awakened by the tunes he once collected, the bronze statue of the piper under the tree stirs himself, his stiff fingers elongated as he lifts the chanter and pipes off his knee and takes a cautious step across the square. In his coat pocket, a half bottle of whiskey. In his head, the notes of thousands of airs still jostle and cling to life in his memory. Songs collected in Irish clubs and building sites in Birmingham and Brixton, Battersea and Crewe. White, shorted men softly playing the squeeze box. Lonely men singing about the sweet mountain dew between shifts at the Vauxhall car plant in Luton. Men who once laboured with asphalt and asbestos, vasping out final breaths in flats in Camden Town, with the district nurse their sole weekly caller. Men who tuned to Radio Irvine in kitchenettes, hemmed in by foreign voices through cavity walls, desperate to hear a fiddle amid the static and forget the damp odour of exile and the cross of loneliness. The ghosts swarmed to join him in the frosted square, like they swarmed as boys to hiring fairs in Strabane, and queued on Dublin quays to board cattle boats, and waited at dawn in Kilburn for contractors in vans. A lifetime of being herded and praying to be chosen, of pints and tin whistles shyly produced at gatherings. Remember me, one of them begs the bronze figure. You recorded me one December night in Wolverhampton. You came back to my bedsit, the only soul I ever let in. I sang with my eyes closed amid my few possessions, and it felt like I had only to reach out to the dark, and every face I left behind would be there to touch. Play the books of our Moore, play The Frosters Are Over, play for ghosts eternally condemned to be the wild rover, play for those picking mushrooms in the fields of Athenry, from Estonia and Lithuania, from Lagos and Paraguay. Remember us, Seamus, we entrusted you with song, in Yorkshire mill towns that never felt like home. Our legions left no footprints amid the wet cement, but you drank with us and gave our songs wort on botties on farms in Strathclyde and Arbroath. We wander in limbo now, the forgotten remnants of an army recruited from hillside and tenement to go abroad and send home a weekly remittance. Strap on your pipe, Seamus, as each ghost flits around your cottage window to hear our tunes renewed in the young musician's fingers and lips. I met Tony McMahon, the great Clare accordion player, and he told me that he lived on Home Farm Road in Drumcondra twice. Once when he was studying to be a teacher in St Patrick's Teacher Training College, and in 1965 he brought a young lady home for the evening, and they woke up to find a policeman with a notebook at the end of the bed at 2:30 in the morning, wanting their names and addresses, which was apparently what happened when he brought a young girl home in Drumcondra in 1965. Not that I would know. The second time he lived in Home Farm Road, he shared a flat with Seamus Ennis, and policemen rarely appeared at the end of the bed with notebooks to take down the names and addresses. But when I live near Home Farm Road in Drumcondra myself now, and whenever I walk down that road, I imagine Seamus Ennis as an old man playing, going off to play small gigs with those pipes and his the Liam O'Flynn has those pipes now, and the pipes were found by Ennis's father in a pawnbrokers in London in a sack. They know what they were, and they've been made 200 years before. And but this is just about the life of a musician, and it's called Seamus Ennis in Drumcondra. I see him leave that flat we shared and walk down Home Farm Road, black coat buttoned against the wind, a countryman's hat pulled down, and in his hand a battered case containing the set of uilleann pipes found in fragments by his father in a sack in a London pawnbroker's, a jigsaw nobody could piece together 100 years after they were crafted by Coyne of Thomas Street in Dublin. He carries his case like a secret dossier that no passer-by could decode as he boards a bus into the city, unnoticed among the evening hoods. Times are hard, our flat threadbare. He survives on tins of steak and kidney pie, on meals that he cooks at odd hours when he tells yarns and truly comes alive. There is rent to pay, a meter to be fed, afternoon visits to the local laundrette, nights of wind rattling the rotting windows when he spreads his coat over the bed. This is the price of making music, of living the life for which he was born. He is on his way that night to perform for little pay to a meagre audience in the back room of a Dublin pub with a television blaring in the lounge. Ignoring the jarring cash register, 3 dozen people sit transfixed by a set of reels learnt from his father, interlaced with grace notes and tricks picked up from pipers who are ghosts, who died recorded only by himself, who never learnt music, wrote nothing down, but carried the tunes in their minds, knowing that with their own deaths, dozens of unnamed reels would also die. Ennis plays with due respect for the dead in his one good suit, a white shirt and tie.